Hello, many thanks for joining us on News Hour 2. My name is Sani Abdurrahman. We start with some good news because the first batch of Ghanaian students have arrived back home from Ukraine. 16 of them arrived at the Kotoka International Airport on Tuesday morning on a Qatar Airways flight and one on a Turkish Airlines flight. They were reunited with their families after completing arrival formalities and COVID-19 protocols.
Federation invasion of Ukraine, which has dominated international headlines the world over, has caused over 500,000 people to flee from the country. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration says over 1,000 Ghanaians are in Ukraine and government is working through its partners to secure them safe passage back home. These 17 students are the first batch to return home to their families. For the students and their loved ones, it was reunion in relief. The government says Ghana is the first African country to have evacuated its first group of nationals back home from the ongoing crisis in Ukraine. Deputy Foreign Affairs Minister Mr. Kweku Amprechum Sapong told reporters at the airport that some 500 Ghanaians have already crossed the borders into neighboring countries, including Moldova, Poland and Hungary. He said there are plans to ensure that Ghanaians in hotspot areas are also brought to safety.
And the government is determined to continue to make sure that your colleagues who are still in transit to be evacuated will eventually be evacuated. We also want to go on record to thank the International Migration Organization for the support that they are giving. And we also want us all to remember our compatriots who have so far not been able to be evacuated. Some of your compatriots are Sumi. Hopefully, will be able to cross over to Russian territory itself. The government has laid plans to evacuate every student or every Ghanaian who is prepared and ready to come home.
Though questions were not allowed at the time from journalists to the students, some of them said that they paid for their tickets to return home, a claim we were not able to verify with government officials at the time. The leader of the group, Nana Kwachi Ajiman, a fifth-year medical student, shared a word of thanks and hope.
I've studied for 5 years in Ukraine, and this is quite unfortunate we have to come home. But I want to first of all thank the Almighty God, also thank the government of Ghana, thank the various ambassadors, thank the ministry, and also reassure parents that their children will be back home. Siblings should be calm, friends should be calm. The government is doing its possible best to make us all come back home.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration reiterated its call on Russia to end its aggression in Ukraine.
Meanwhile, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has assured parents and relatives of Ghanaian nationals in Ukraine that they will be safely evacuated back into the country at no cost to respective families. At a meeting in Accra led by the Minister for Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, Ms. Shirley Ayokoboche, it was disclosed that as at February 28, 2022, an estimated 527 Ghanaian nationals had crossed the Ukrainian border into various European countries.
As at 5 p.m. on 28th of February, which is yesterday, an estimated number of 527 Ghanaian nationals had crossed the Ukrainian border to various European countries, and they will soon be with us in Ghana as long as they are willing to be evacuated, and it will be at no cost to them. The breakdown is as follows. In Prague, 49 Ghanaians, including one child, there's one student who has a 4-year-old, were received by the diplomatic mission and are waiting to be processed for departure to Ghana. In Slovakia, 25 Ghanaians arrived and on their way to Prague to be received by a diplomatic mission. In Romania, 134 Ghanaians were received by an official of the Prague diplomatic mission and are awaiting relevant processes for departure to Ghana. This morning from Romania, the 16 of our students arrived. They had arrived on Saturday, I believe, so we were able to process them quickly, get them tickets to come. They arrived this morning, and tomorrow a few others, quite a number of them, will also leave. 81 Ghanaians have arrived in Poland. 221 have arrived at the border in Hungary and are on their way to the city of Budapest. The government of Ghana is ready to evacuate all the 527 of our citizens in a coordinated manner.
In some of the day's other events, the Ghana AIDS Commission says it stands in solidarity with millions living with HIV/AIDS as the world celebrates Zero Discrimination Day. The day reminds all that stigma and discrimination are the foremost barriers to HIV prevention, treatment and support. The goal is to support the right of persons living with HIV to effective medical treatment, employment, housing, relationships and lives free of discrimination.
Any person who stigmatizes or discriminates against PLHIV or those affected by HIV causes an offense punishable by law, and we wish to encourage persons living with HIV or affected by HIV in any way to recognize that these rights are guaranteed by law, and therefore they must assert these rights by reporting such cases to the police or to SHRAJ or go to court for legal redress. It is 100% true that stigma kills more than the disease itself. And therefore, we all have to work together to eliminate stigma and discrimination associated with HIV in this country.
Viruses like HIV, COVID-19 do not differentiate between people, but societies do. People stigmatize and discriminate against people living with HIV, mostly out of ignorance, because they're afraid of HIV. However, let me reiterate that HIV is not a death sentence. The antiretroviral medicines that are available today save lives when they are taken continuously. And we should also note that viral suppression in the body resulting from the adherence to antiretroviral treatment presents the transmittal of the virus from one person to another.
We'll go back to our earlier developments where the Minister for Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, Madam Sheila Yokobochi, has announced that officials from Ghana's diplomatic missions and honorary consuls in Europe have been dispatched to the various Ukrainian borders to assist every Ghanaian living in Ukraine into neighboring countries. Ms. Ayokobochi said aside the first batch of 17 students who arrived today, 2 more batches from Romania are expected to arrive later this week.
Our diplomatic missions in Berlin and Vienna to send officers to other border towns of Ukraine to augment the staff strength in the evacuation exercise. I wish to reiterate that government has put in place the necessary package to facilitate transportation, accommodation, feeding, medical support to ease the burden on our people. I therefore appeal to relatives of our compatriots gathered here to recognize the precarious circumstances that our compatriots face and the need to encourage them to take advantage of this evacuation exercise to return to Ghana.
We do some security story because the ECOWAS Forum of National Security Advisors has unanimously adopted the regulations of the ECOWAS Forum of National Security Advisors as the framework to guide and regulate the forum. At its final session for the year 2022, recommendations made include strengthening our collective regional response for an effective border management and the operationalization of the ECOWAS standby force to enhance its effectiveness and efficiency in the sub-region. Oforu Adako has more.
On 7th May 2021, a letter was presented to the President of ECOWAS Commission, which instructed the Commission to proceed with the institutionalization of the ECOWAS Forum of National Security Advisors. Following the creation of the platform, the maiden meeting of security advisors has been held to identify gaps and also discuss ways for member states to collaborate and provide rapid and appropriate responses to security problems, particularly the fight against terrorism.
Intelligence has a lot of information. The idea is how can we use this intelligence in order to help the institution to deliver security to the citizen. I think that's the challenge. And they have recognized it as a gap, and they will be working on how best they can be sharing intelligence among themselves.
It is said that security has expanded and now affects other sectors such as social, economic, political, environment, cultural development, and good governance.
If we pool our resources together with the other defense committees and structures, if we cross-fertilize ideas, if we pool our resources together, we can maximize on the gains we make.
ECOWAS is convinced that even though economic integration is paramount in the realization of its mandate, regional peace and security, conflict prevention and management, peace building, democracy and good governance are the vehicles to get to this destination. For GBC News, Oforu Adako reporting.
Now, to ensure that every ECOWAS citizen has equal access to quality healthcare without financial barriers, health ministers, economists and financial experts from the sub-region have met in Accra to discuss how the regional action plan for a universal health coverage can be realized. A first-of-its-kind meeting, it had become imperative due to the rapid increase in out-of-pocket spending or cost incurred when seeking healthcare on the continent, which also affects the livelihoods of households. A report by Sarah Ofori.
Health is a fundamental human right and a key indicator to sustainable development, yet access to sufficient health care has brought untold hardship to patients and their households. It is also estimated that over 52% of Africa's population may not have access to the health care they require, although timelines for the Sustainable Development Goals and the universal health coverage is less than a decade away. Hence, the meeting in Accra was to discuss how member states can mobilize resources and increase their budgetary allocation towards the universal health coverage targets.
Vision of this action plan is that every ECOWAS citizen should have access to quality health care without financial barriers.
Brain drain is also a challenge to universal health coverage. According to the Vice Chancellor of the University of Health Equity, Professor Agnes Binangwayo, brain drain costs Africa $2 billion annually. To attain universal health coverage, she enumerated some factors to consider, that is, investing in human resource, medical commodities and supplies, equity in the distribution, supporting the poor and marginalized, and creating resilient systems. She further advised governments to develop homegrown solutions and avoid double standards. The Minister for Finance, Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta, urged member states against the wastage of health resources.
All of us, ladies and gentlemen, must stop working in silos, need to embrace our collective responsibility to create transparent systems that address the most basic needs of society, giving our people the dignity of knowing that they will have a roof over their heads, be taken care of when they are sick, and have food to eat during tough times.
The Minister for Health, Mr. Kwekwa said although service coverage is improving, out-of-pocket spending has left many impoverished.
Achievement of UHC has never been more urgent. Everyone, everywhere, should have access to good quality health services, including vaccines, tests, and treatment for COVID-19, without facing financial hardships.
Till date, no West African country has met the criteria of allocating a minimum of 15% of budgetary allocations to health. Cyril Furi, GBC News, Accra.
An outdoor sensitization program for street food vendors and the general public has taken place at the Bolgatanga market in the Upper East region. It is to drum home the need for anyone who wishes to sell food in the open to go through the approved health and safety schemes of the Food and Drugs Authority before doing so.
The Food and Drugs Authority sent their message through a float on the principal streets of Bolgatanga. They made several stops at food joints and communicated the importance of permits as far as street food vending is concerned. The FDA cautioned that it would stop food vendors who fail to acquire permits from operating. Launched on the theme, No Street Food Vending Permit, No Business, the Upper East Regional Head of the FDA, Mr. Sebastian Hoto, said many people buy food from the streets daily. He said it is important to protect the health of the masses that eat food daily from the many joints on the streets. He warned that the FDA would withdraw the permit of any food vendor who, after being issued with a permit, refuses to adhere to the health and safety standards spelled out.
You will always be tempted to nibble on a local snack or another, and for all these reasons, the FDA found it prudent to officially regulate and license street food vendors so as to keep a closer eye on how they produce them for our consumption.
The Regional Coordinating Director, Chief Mohammed Azonko, also called on food vendors in the region to ensure that they operate around clean streets. He said selling unhygienic food on the streets has negative implications for tourism in the region. A representative from the Office of the Environmental Health and Sanitation, Mr. Mohammed Adam, called for intensified education in all parts of the region and urged the FDA to pay more attention to the kitchens of the vendors. Prizes were given to some food vendors for adhering to the basic hygiene and safety requirements.
Back in the Greater Accra, work has begun on a new regional hospital to replace the existing Tema General Hospital. The 90 million euro facility is part of the Government of Ghana health sector policy to bridge the gap in healthcare infrastructure. The medical director at the Tema General Hospital, Dr. Richard Anthony, disclosed to GBC News that contractors have moved to site and work is progressing steadily.
The Tema General Hospital was constructed in 1954 to provide health services for workers who constructed the Tema Harbour. It was later handed over to the government to provide general OPD services. But with increasing numbers at the hospital, it has become difficult for the facility to accommodate all cases. In 2020, a 90 million euro financing agreement was passed by Parliament to expand the services at the hospital, but the COVID pandemic delayed the construction of the ultra-modern hospital expected to replace the old Tema General Hospital. The new hospital is expected to have a public health department, which would comprise of a 100-seater outdoor educational area, a 37 emergency bed unit, 200 body capacity mortuary, 65-bed maternity and gynecology wards, 87 surgical and orthopedic wards, among other facilities. Apart from offering all primary health care, the new facility will provide specialized health care. The medical director of Tema General Hospital, Dr. Richard Anthony, said although the hospital is faced with many challenges, management continue to do their best to provide quality health care.
Our vision is to be a first-class hospital, a teaching and training center in Tama and beyond.
We apologize for that. We'll bring you the full reports subsequently. But a freelance journalist, Mr. Amenga Itigo, who was picked up by operatives of the National Security at the Law Court Complex for allegedly taking videos of court proceedings, has been discharged by the Criminal Court 5 Division of the Accra High Court. Justice Lydia Osemafo, in her ruling, said she had no desire in citing Mr. Amenga Itigo for contempt, although he bruised the ego of the courts. The court also ordered that his phones and other devices in the custody of the NIB be given back to him after 5 days. Meanwhile, the journalist has been rearrested by the National Security for unknown reasons. The Institute of Internal Auditors Ghana now has a new logo and a website. The rebranding aims at giving the institute a new look and makes it more visible as it seeks to elevate the impact of internal audit profession.
21 years now since the Institute of Internal Auditors Ghana cut its umbilical cord to promote professionalism in the auditing space in the country. The Institute is a fully fledged member institute of the global internal audit family and also collaborates and partners with the sister institute, the African Institute, and a founding member of the Africa Federation of Institutes of Internal Auditors. At the launch of the rebranding of the institute's logo and website, the chair of research and publication communication of the institute, Mr. Ebenezer Omaru Miriku, said the rebranding has become necessary as the institute seeks to empower and give stakeholders value for service.
As businesses are growing, our profession is also growing. So the work we do now is more collaborative rather than sitting somewhere and doing our work. It is now more engaging, getting to our clients, getting closer to them, understanding their needs, and working towards what they expected from us. That is why the profession is branding itself.
The president of the Institute of Internal Auditors Ghana, Mrs. Harriet Kakari, said Ghana is evolving and there is the need for internal auditors to position themselves to contribute their quota to the development of the country.
Internal auditors, we are part of the organization, but for the external auditors, they are outside the organization. So if we are part of the organization and we are remunerated well or remunerated well, it will enhance our performance. The internal audit practice was already in existence in most of the private sector. It was the public sector that didn't have. It wasn't mandatory until the Internal Audit Agency Act was passed in 2003.
The Chartered Institute of Administrators and Management Consultants Ghana has opened the 2022 professional year. This is to keep its members abreast of the activities lined up for the year. A new board of trustees was also sworn into office.
The Chartered Institute of Administrators and Management Consultants Ghana is an institution that promotes excellence in the practice of professional administration and management consultancy by examining, chartering and regulating its members. At the opening of the 2022 professional year, the outgoing board chair, Mr. Paul Hammond, said the institute has been in existence for the past 18 years and has trained many administrators who have made significant impact in their field of work. The president of the Institute of Directors Ghana, Mr. Roxon Dogbega, urged the rectors to seek the interest of the organizations.
Good corporate governance demands that on every agenda item, there must be a declaration of conflict of interest on the agenda.
A legal practitioner, Mr. Sam Okujeto, who swore in the new board of trustees, urged them to diligently deliver on their mandate. Also, the new board of the various committees were sworn in. The board chair, Ehunambo Brimpra Ajinsem, said there is the need for administrators to embrace innovation and positive changes that have risen as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic.
It will continue to be our responsibility as trustees to ensure that the vision expressed in the plan is realized during the term of the board. For this reason, we shall work together, bound by duty, to preserve and enhance the distinctive character of our institution.
This year's event is on a theme, enhancing professional practice through branding, ethical discipline and networking.
Now, the authorities of Prempeh College in Kumasi have observed that the ban on corporal punishment in schools in Ghana has led to a high level of indiscipline among students and the youth in general. The Prempeh College authorities are of the view that the situation may have an adverse effect on the country in the future. The assistant headmaster of the school in charge of academics, Mr. James, also expressed his concern during the official handing over of a 45,000 Ghana cedi lighting system provided by the 1989-91 year group of old students of the college.
Prempeh College, the oldest secondary school in the Ashanti region, named after Nanase Ajiman Prempeh, the late Asante Hene, is an all-male school. The school, founded on Methodist and Presbyterian tradition at the instance of the then Asante Hene, is very famous in Ghana for its discipline and excellent academic records. The poor lighting situation in the school in recent times, according to the management, is seriously undermining academic work and moral training of the students. This is what inspired the 1989-91 year group of the Old Amanfo, as the Old Boys are affectionately known, to quickly mobilize resources to intervene. Within a short period, they have been able to light up the school. According to the president of the 1989-91 year group of the Old Students Association, Mr. Yao Nyakun Etiahini, apart from renovating the school's assembly hall, the lighting project has cost them about 45,000 Ghana cedis. But this is a way of giving back to their alma mater.
A lot of seniors were touched, and the initial budget of 18,000 for 30 street lights that we started with, the fundraising went on so well that we were able to raise enough money to undertake a project of 74 new lights at a cost of 45,000 Ghana cedis.
The assistant headmaster in charge of administration, Mr. James Poku, noted that, but for the intervention by the old students, it could have taken management a considerable period of time to fix the poor lighting problem on the school's premises for various reasons, including bureaucracy.
And the Ghana cedi has depreciated by 8.86% since the start of the year. And we go for a break. When we return, Esther Eddie will be telling you what may have led to the depreciation of the Ghanaian currency.
Ghana, we now have freedom. The President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, invites all Ghanaians to be part of activities marking the 65th independence anniversary celebrations of our republic in the Central Region.
Cape Coast 2022.
Saturday, 26th February, Ghana Health and Fitness Walk will be led by the Vice President, Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, in Cape Coast, with participation at various sports centers across the country. Time, 6 a.m.
Sunday, 27th February, Christian prayer and thanksgiving to be observed in all churches nationwide.
Monday, 28th February, the 74th anniversary of the Christian Borg Crossroads shooting incident will be marked at the Nationalism Park in Osu. Time, 8 a.m.
Tuesday, 1st March 2022, National Flag Hoisting Day to be observed nationwide.
Wednesday, 2nd March, the President's Independence Day Awards for school children will be at the Accra International Conference Center. Time, 10 a.m.
Thursday, 3rd March, where Ghana Day, there will be a a tug of peace among 7 Asafo companies in Cape Coast.
Friday, 4th March, Muslim Day of Prayer and Thanksgiving to be held in all mosques nationwide. The Central Region Industrialization Drive, an exhibition of various manufacturing companies, including the Ekunfi Fruit and Juices Limited, will be held at Cape Coast, time 10 a.m. The President's Cup, a soccer match between Kumasi Asante Kotoko and Accra Hearts of Oak, will be played at Accra Sports Stadium. Kick-off time 6 p.m.
Saturday, 5th March.
An evening of drama and reenactment of the Declaration of Independence will be held at Elmina Castle at 7 p.m.
While a Beyond the Return vigil will be held at the Elmina Castle at 7 p.m. 65th anniversary fireworks by the Ghana Armed Forces will take place at all regional capitals before midnight.
Then on Sunday, 6th March, for the 3rd time in Ghana's history, the National Independence Anniversary Parade, which moved from the Black Star Square in Accra to the Aliu Mahama Sports Stadium in Tamale and the Baba Yara Sports Stadium in Kumasi, is now moving to the Cape Coast Stadium in the Central Region to be hosted by the President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo.
All must be seated by 7:30 a.m. The special guest of honor will be the Prime Minister of Barbados, Her Excellency Mia Amor Motley, MP.
Also in attendance will be the Oguamanhin Osaberi Makwisata II. Come, join and let's commemorate Ghana's 65th independence anniversary.
Cape Coast 2022, working together, bouncing back better.
Hello, this is the business news and my name is Esther Edo Ohumilum. The Ghana cedi has depreciated by 8.6% to the dollar since the beginning of this year. We now bring you the list of currencies with the worst spot returns and those with the best spot returns on the continent. Importers are worried about the return of unauthorized inspection agencies at the nation's ports. They say that the presence of multiple clearing agencies consumes time and increases the cost of clearing goods. Government in June 2018 charged all inspection agencies except the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Food and Drugs Authority, and the Ghana Standards Authority to cease operations within the ports to facilitate the implementation of the Easy Pass program.
3 agencies are supposed to do examination at the port. But as I said, other agencies have come into the port, upon whose authority I cannot tell. But we are doing our best, and therefore I will expect that we can streamline activities at the port so that the unnecessary delays will be minimal.
The expected agencies to be at the port should be 3. And so we don't understand why it should surpass that number. And so that's why we are saying that they should find a way to consolidate them. If there are agencies that are related, consolidated them under one roof. We had a committee formed to evaluate the port operations. And all these things recommendations were made. And since we finished the report, nothing has been done on that. We did it under the Ministry of Transport.
Going back to stories on the cedi, the Ghana cedi has depreciated by 8.86% to the dollar since the beginning of this year. It has therefore earned the position as the worst of African currencies with the worst port returns. The bad performance of the cedi is followed by the Zambian kwacha with a depreciation of 6.02%. We have on the line an economist, Mr. Paul Apia-Konedu, to further explain. Good afternoon, Paul.
Good afternoon, Esther, and thanks for having me this afternoon on your show.
You're welcome. The cedi was the best performing currency in 2020, according to the same Bloomberg. What do you think has gone wrong since then?
First of all, we have to appreciate the fact that one key cause of depreciation of a currency comes from a temporary supply or demand imbalance in the forex markets. So on the forex markets, whenever we have supply of the cedi exceeding demand for the cedi, we expect the cedi to depreciate against the major foreign currencies such as the dollar. Now, if we look back in the past 3 years, realize that around March every year, we go to the Eurobond markets and borrow. Last year, for instance, in 2020, we got $3 billion US, and these monies were used to shore up our foreign exchange reserves, were used to support the cedi on the exchange rate markets. But since we lost access to the Eurobond markets, now what it means is that government has to raise on the cedi, which has accounted for the recent rapid depreciation that we are experiencing now.
Okay, Paul, your line is bad, so if you could position yourself well. Before I let you go, crude has been selling about $100 per barrel. Won't we have enough proceeds from that to stabilize the cedi?
Yes, we can get enough revenues from crude, but we are looking at the net effect. Crude is bringing in additional revenues even with the price increase. But the point is that we sell the raw crude at a lower price and then import refined petroleum products. So if we look at what we get in terms of selling the raw crude in receipts and how much we spend on the refined products, there is still a shortage in there. The receipts will be lower than how much we need to be able to import the refined products. So one way to resolve this particular challenge, I think, is to to be able to revive TOR, the Maui refinery, so that we can add value to the petroleum products within Ghana. With that, you can be able to retain value and reduce the pressure by supplying more cedi to exchange for $1 to import refined petroleum products.
All right, that will be all for now, Mr. Paul Appiah Konadu. We're speaking to Mr. Paul Appiah Konadu, an economist. We'll take the interbank and commodity figures for the day. Thanks for watching.
Ghana, we now have freedom. The President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, invites all Ghanaians to be part of activities marking the 65th Independence Anniversary celebrations of our Republic in the Central Region.
Cape Coast 2022.
Saturday, 26th February. Ghana Health and Fitness Walk will be led by the Vice President, Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, in Cape Coast with participation at various sports centers across the country. Time, 6 a.m.
Sunday, 27th February. Christian prayer and thanksgiving to be observed in all churches nationwide.
Monday, 28th February. The 74th anniversary of the Christian Bloc Crossroads shooting incident will be marked at the Nationalism Park in Osu. Time, 8 a.m.
Tuesday, 1st March 2022. National Flag Hoisting Day to be observed nationwide.
Wednesday, 2nd March. The President's Independence Day Awards for school children will be at the Accra International Conference Center. Time, 10 a.m.
Thursday, 3rd March. Where Ghana Day, there will be a tug of peace among 7 Asafo companies in Cape Coast.
Friday, 4th March, Muslim Day of Prayer and Thanksgiving to be held in all mosques nationwide. The Central Region Industrialization Drive, an exhibition of various manufacturing companies, including the Ekunfi Fruit and Juices Limited, will be held at Cape Coast. Time, 10 a.m. The President's Cup, a soccer match between Kumasi Asante Kotoko and Accra Hearts of Oak, will be played at Accra Sports Stadium. Kick-off time, 6 p.m.
Saturday, 5th March.
An evening of drama and reenactment of the Declaration of Independence will be held at the Elmina Castle at 7 p.m.
While a Beyond the Return vigil will be held at the Elmina Castle at 7 p.m. 65th anniversary fireworks by the Ghana Armed Forces will take place at all regional capitals before midnight.
Then, on Sunday, 6th March, for the 3rd time in Ghana's history, the National Independence Anniversary Parade, which moved from the Black Star Square in Accra to the Aliu Mahama Sports Stadium in Tamale and the Baba Yara Sports Stadium in Kumasi, is now moving to the Cape Coast Stadium in the Central Region to be hosted by the President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo.
All must be seated by 7:30 a.m. The special guest of honor will be the Prime Minister of Barbados, Her Excellency Mia Amor Motley, MP.
Also in attendance will be the Oguamanhin Osaberi Makwisata II. Come, join and let's commemorate Ghana's 65th Independence Anniversary.
Cape Coast 2022, working together, bouncing back better.
Their labors, toils of the brave, which have brought rain.